Okay, let's dive right in. We're not talking about propaganda or splashy headlines today. No, we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts military logic of how a nation could actually challenge a U.S. aircraft carrier. And we're going to see why a concept called asymmetric warfare changes the entire game. I mean, when you see an American aircraft carrier, you are looking at one of the most powerful warships ever built. Period. It's a floating city, it's a mobile airbase, and it is an undeniable symbol of military might that can project power pretty much anywhere on the globe. But here's the thing, power doesn't automatically mean invincibility. And that's really the core question we're digging into today. How do you even begin to confront something that powerful without trying to match it dollar for dollar, ship for ship? Well, it turns out, you don't play the same game. And that brings us to the key idea for this whole explainer. Asymmetric warfare. It's a strategy where you just don't meet strength with strength. Instead, you use different, often unconventional, methods to go after your opponent's vulnerabilities and completely flip the script on the economics of a conflict. So when we look at a potential challenger like Iran, it's absolutely crucial to understand they're not planning to fight the US the way the US fights. They're playing a totally different game with a different rulebook. And let's just get this out of the way right now, because every serious military analyst agrees on this point. Iran cannot win a straight-up head-to-head conventional naval war against the United States. It's just not going to happen. Their strategy isn't built on matching power. It's built entirely on this idea of asymmetry. So what does that asymmetric strategy actually look like on the ground? Well, it means you have to fundamentally change how you even define victory. It's not about sinking the entire enemy fleet. It's about something way more subtle. This quote right here, it just captures the entire mindset perfectly. The goal isn't destruction, it's all about disruption. If you can make it too risky for a carrier to operate safely, too expensive for it to just hang around in one area, or if you simply force it to pull back, you know what? That's a strategic win. And this comparison just illustrates that core conflict beautifully. The US uses its carriers for power projection, to push its influence anywhere in the world. Iran's goal is the exact opposite, area denial, to make one specific area, basically its own backyard, way too dangerous for that projection of power to work. So how would they actually try to pull this off? Let's take a peek inside what defense experts call the asymmetric toolbox. The key here is that it's not about one single magic weapon. It's about applying pressure from a whole bunch of different angles at once. Analysts pretty much always point to these four key capabilities. You've got mass drone and missile attacks, these specialized anti-ship ballistic missiles, swarms of those little fast boats, and of course, the unseen threats lurking just below the surface. So let's break these down. Now, the central logic behind a lot of these methods is something called a saturation attack. A carrier strike group has some of the most advanced defenses on Earth, so the idea isn't to sneak one perfect shot past them. The goal is to just overwhelm them with so many threats that they can't handle them all. This slide makes the concept crystal clear. I mean, think about it. Even if the world's best defenses are 95% effective, which, by the way, is an incredible rate, if you throw a massive attack at it, that remaining 5% could still be a whole lot of missiles or drones getting through. It's just a brutal numbers game. So, one of the tools that gets a lot of attention is the anti-ship ballistic missile. These weapons, like the college FARs, are a real game changer. They're designed to hit a moving ship at sea by coming screaming down from a super high altitude at supersonic speeds, which makes them incredibly difficult to intercept in time. And then you've got geography playing a huge role. In really tight, confined waters like the Strait of Hormuz, Iran can just unleash hundreds of these small, fast-armed speedboats. Now, one of them is no threat, obviously, but a swarm of them charging from every direction, that's a complex nightmare for a big warship's radar and weapons to deal with. And finally, you have the threats you can't even see. We're talking about small, hard-to-detect, midget submarines that are perfect for shallow waters and could try to pull off an ambush. On top of that, a huge stockpile of naval mines could be used to turn those critical choke points into deadly, deadly obstacle courses. Now, of course, none of this is happening in a vacuum. A U.S. aircraft carrier is never, ever alone. It sits at the very heart of one of the most advanced defensive formations ever created, the Carrier Strike Group. Let's take a look at how this layered shield is built. You can kind of think of its defense like three rings of protection. The outer ring is the combat air patrol, fighter jets that are out there looking to intercept threats hundreds of miles away. The mid-ring is made up of guided missile destroyers using the incredible Aegis system, which can track and fire on hundreds of targets at the same time. And then, in that inner ring, you've got powerful electronic warfare that can literally jam the guidance systems of incoming weapons, making them go blind. So what you have is this incredible clash of concepts, this asymmetric offense trying to overwhelm an amazing layered defense. But this brings us right back to the most crucial point of all. The goal isn't necessarily to win the battle, it's to achieve a totally different kind of victory. Success for the asymmetric player isn't a picture of a sunken ship on the news. No, it's achieved long before that. If the mere threat you pose makes deploying a multi-billion-dollar carrier politically too risky or just operationally too difficult, if you make the superpower think twice, then your objective has already been met. And this really is the bottom line, isn't it? It's all about forcing a superpower to calculate risk in a whole new way. It's not about matching them ship for ship, it's about deterrence, it's about pressure. In the 21st century, just making dominance uncomfortable is sometimes enough. And that leaves us with a final thought to really chew on. When a relatively low-cost drone can pose a challenge to a billion-dollar defense system, it forces all of us to ask a really fundamental question about modern conflict. In this new era, what is